Hey everybody, it's B-Nard coming your way with the first ever team building and battle strategy guide. I'm going to be taking a break from battling today to answer the request of a fan who wanted me to do a video talking about how to be successful in battle. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take you guys through the process that I go through every time I make a new team, and then talk about the strategy that I employ in battle with those teams. So you can see I have all of my teams that I've used so far on the channel up here on the screen for you. My first 5 teams in the PC box on the left-hand side, and then my current team in my party on the right-hand side. So what I like to do is I like to start out by selecting one Pokemon. Doesn't really matter what it is or what your reason is. Could just be because you like it, or because it has a neat strategy, or whatever. Typically, it helps to start off with a Mega, because there are a limited number of Megas, and you usually want to have one on your team because most of them are very powerful, so you want to take advantage of that. So I'm going to use my first team as an example for this up on the left-hand side of the screen. I started out by selecting Aggron/Mega Aggron for the team. And then essentially what you want to do is you want to build the rest of the team around that one single Pokemon. Now what that means is, in this case, Aggron is best at attack and defense, so I'm going to have an either attack or defense nature, and then invest all of the EVs in attack and defense for it to make it the physical wall of the team. And then I'm going to fill in the rest of the Pokemon essentially around that in order to try and compensate for its weaknesses, and also at the same time the Pokemon that I fill in should have weaknesses that Aggron compensates for as well. So the next Pokemon that I chose to go with Aggron in this team was Goodra. There's a very good interaction between those two, since Goodra is best at special attack and special defense, so that kind of complements Aggron. Plus all of Goodra's weaknesses are actually resistances of Aggron, and then one of Aggron's weaknesses is a resistance of Goodra, so that's a very good interaction there between those two Pokemon, so they pair very well with each other. And then the rest of the team just kind of fell into place after that. I filled in the other 4. So Gengar, Jolteon, Swampert, and Talonflame fit around that, basically because of what they're good at and also their typing. So the key here, if I could sum it up in one word, is balance. You want to have a good balance of types on your team, and you don't want to have too many Pokemon with the same weakness on the team. If you look at this team, the only 2 Pokemon with the same weakness are Jolteon and Aggron, both with a ground weakness. And if you'll also notice, there are 2 other Pokemon on that team, Gengar and Talonflame, who both have immunities to the ground type. So that is done to offset the weaknesses, obviously, which is a very, very useful way to construct your team. You always want to be able to compensate for your weaknesses of one Pokemon with resistances or immunities of another Pokemon. And I pay very close attention in building my teams and balancing those things out. If you'll notice, looking at all of my teams, I never have more than 2 Pokemon with the same weakness on any one given team. And if I have 2 with the same weakness, I always try to have at least 2 with a resistance or an immunity to that weakness, just to try and balance it so I don't get swept, so I'm not too susceptible to being taken out by one type of attack. The other thing you want to do is, in your move sets in your Pokemon that you have on your team, you want to have balance there too. You want to have a good array of offensive moves with a lot of different types, so you can have a good attack for just about any situation. You also want to have some good status moves, entry hazards, or stat boosters too. Typically, since I'm a more aggressive player, I like to keep the amount of those moves to a minimum on my teams. I usually only have 1 or 2 for the team as a whole. Main reason is you don't want to be too passive in battle, in my opinion, because that's a good way to get swept. So you always want to be on the offense. You always want to be applying pressure to your opponent, because that's the way you win at the end of the day. So I like to be a very aggressive, very offensive player. So most of my moves will be attacking moves, damage-dealing moves. But it's always good to have a couple of either status moves, entry hazards, or stat boosters there too, just to add some diversity to your team as well. So again, the key is balance for me. Just balance between everything, typing, move pool, stats, just everything. That is the key for me as far as creating my team. Now, as far as using the team goes, you really can sum that up in one word as well, and that word would be prediction. When you're facing your opponent, obviously at the start of the battle, you're going to get to see their team, and you're going to be able to look at it and perhaps guess what they're going to lead with most of the time. And what I like to do normally is, if I look at a team and I can predict what they're going to lead with, then I try to lead with the Pokemon on my team that is the best possible counter to what I think they're going to lead with. So prediction, very, very important there. Same thing goes for when you're actually in battle with your opponent. If, they have a type advantage over you, you could predict that they're going to do the obvious play and switch out into something that can withstand the attack that you're predicting. Or you might think, okay, maybe my opponent's going to predict I'm going to switch, so then they're going to do something else. So then you might want to not switch or switch into something different. So it's almost like a mental game of chess if you think about it. You're trying to, in every case, in every scenario, you're trying to predict what your opponent's going to do and act appropriately for that to try and counter what you think they're going to do. So it's this is really the main reason why I love this game so much. Is it's like a mental game of chess. It's trying to outthink your opponent. It's trying to just gain the upper hand based on prediction. So that is the key, in my opinion, to being successful in battle, regardless of what team you use. Just prediction. That is the number one thing. So I guess that would be pretty much it. If I could just sum it up in 2 words, just balance and prediction for how to be successful in battle. That's what I do with all of my teams. Just building them, trying to be as balanced as I possibly can, and in battle, just trying to outthink your opponent, just trying to predict what they're going to do, and being able to counter it. So balance and prediction, 2 biggest things, 2 biggest keys to being successful in battle, in my opinion. So I guess that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching again, everybody. Hope you all enjoyed. Please hit that like button, leave a comment, and or subscribe if you did enjoy, and stay tuned for more new videos in the future. So that's it, and we will see you next time.